Now, the Prime Minister has reached Johannesburg to attend the G20 Summit, which is being held in Africa for the very first time. Notably, the African Union became a member of the G20 during India's presidency in 2023. In a post on X, PM Modi said that the focus of the meeting would be on strengthening cooperation, advancing development priorities, and ensuring a better future for all. Ahead of his departure, the Prime Minister had said that he would put forward India's views at the summit in keeping with its vision of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and one earth, one family and one future. The Prime Minister would also hold bilateral talks with some of the leaders present in Johannesburg for the summit. PM Modi is expected to speak in all 3 sessions of the G20 Summit. The G20 in Africa includes 3 sessions of the summit on topics like inclusivity and sustainability. This year's summit aims to discuss reduction of disaster risk and climate change and artificial intelligence. Now let's take a look at what's on the card for the Prime Minister of India. Now we know that he is attending the G20 Summit from November 21st to November 23 in Johannesburg in South Africa. Now PM Modi is at the G20 Summit. What's on his agenda? The first thing is that he's set to address 3 sessions of the G20 Summit, one of which talks about inclusive and sustainable economic growth. The second summit address will focus on the G20's role in disaster risk reduction and climate change. We all know that climate change is a problem plaguing our society. Another address that the Prime Minister is set to deliver focuses on emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence and critical minerals as well. He also has Global South priorities, wherein he will be advocating for fair market access, reforms in global economic governance, for greater Global South representation and strong stance against terrorism in joint declarations. We also have his bilateral meetings, wherein he is expected to engage with world leaders. He is also engaged with Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and could also be meeting Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi to strengthen partnership between countries. We also have the IPSA Summit that is set to take place. Now he is set to participate in the 6th India, Brazil, South Africa leaders' meeting to review cooperation and deepen strategic ties among Global South democracies. Now this grouping was established in the year 2003 by foreign ministers of these 3 countries. We also have his business and diaspora engagements. The Prime Minister will be discussing investments in India's digital ecosystem and interact with Indian origin tech entrepreneurs and community members in Johannesburg. Remember, the Prime Minister has already met the Indian diaspora in South Africa. Overall vision of the Prime Minister will center on presenting India's Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam perspective, aligning with the summit's theme of solidarity, equality and sustainability. Now we also know that the President of the US, Donald Trump, and the Chinese President are also not going to be attending this year's summit. Now the leaders from the G20 are meeting for the summit this weekend without any representation from the United States as well as China. Now this comes after Donald Trump had said that he won't be attending this summit because of his widely rejected claims that South Africa was persecuting its Afrikaner minority. Now I'm joined by Ambassador Suresh Goyal, who is a former diplomat, on the broadcast. Sir, in your perspective, now is the G20 still an effective grouping of countries, seeing that the world is now divided among strategic fault lines?
Yes, sorry, among who? The connection is not good. Can you please repeat?
So my question to you was, now, in your assessment, according to you, do you think the G20 is still an effective grouping of countries, seeing that the world is now rather divided among strategic fault lines?
G20 remains very important. I mean, if you recall how the G20 was formed, G20 was an attempt to look at the financial structure of the world in a very fresh manner. It remains relevant. The very fact that Trump is so angry with G20 that he decided not to send any delegation to G20 demonstrates that it remains really a relevant forum to discuss the issue. And as far as the division is concerned, the world was always divided, will remain divided, but that is what the G20 is for, to bring the countries together. So I'm quite convinced that even though there may not be a communique or there may not be a statement from G20, but the deliberations on issues concerning the developing countries and transfer of finances from developing will be very, very relevant.
Also, sir, now we know that the Prime Minister is also going to participate in the India, Brazil, South Africa trilateral with the leaders of meeting, rather, Lula da Silva and Ramaphosa.
Yeah.
Now, according to your opinion, what do you think can be expected out of this trilateral meeting among these group of countries?
To be very honest, I think it's going to be more a kind of a formality, a kind of a meeting, a good feeling kind of a meeting, because as far as Brazil, India and South Africa are concerned, it's practically became part of BRICS. And the BRICS actually became an expanded version of what ITSA would be doing. So I will expect that there will be a normal kind of statements made in terms of the world economic issues, political issues, terrorism, this and that. But really speaking, it will be a more feel-good kind of a meeting. There is a substantive kind of outcome from the meeting as such. Also, remember that India will be hosting the BRICS meeting later, and therefore what ITSA will be doing will be actually part of the BRICS meeting in India.
All right, sir, I appreciate your time. Meanwhile,